Hello everybody, welcome to my first GDevelop tutorial of 2021. Today I will show you how to bring a very simple game idea to life in GDevelop. I'll show you how to create and animate assets, I'll show you a little bit how to use physics and particles, and at the end of it we'll have a very cool prototype of a game. Let's go!
Welcome to the brand new Wishforge Game Show, presented by our very own super charming and a little bit naughty Andrew Dynamite.
Okay, so the first step is to open GDevelop, obviously. Now let's create a new project, choose empty game. And before anything else, we just go to game settings and properties to set up our screen resolution. So in this case, we're going to create like a pixel art game, right? So then the idea is to work on a very small resolution, 800 for 600. I think it's too big for our game in particular. So I'll just pick the whole size of my monitor screen and then just divide it by 8. So my perfect number in my case is 240 for 135. In this way, when I put the full screen mode for my game, it's gonna be full screen without any black bars anywhere. Now another thing I need to activate is the scale mode from linear to nearest. So then we make sure our pixel assets when scaled up will not be blurry but very nice sharp pixels. So that's it. And the next step is to create our scene right here. My first scene name is gonna be actually game. This is where we're gonna play. So as you can see, the window is very small, just like this, and that's a good start. So as the first thing we will ever need is some assets. As you saw from the example, we have a hammer, we have a ball, we have some particles, we have some platforms, but let's take a look at the screen. So for now, what we have here is a base layer, background, we have the properties panel here, and we can create objects here. So what I'm going to do as the first thing is to add a new object. So let's start creating the hammer. So I'll choose sprite and I call this hammer. We can add animation and just go here, edit with pixel. The resolution is going to be 24 by 24 pixels and we click resize. Okay, so I'm gonna draw my hammer in this area, so I make sure I have enough space to actually do the animation of like hammering, you know. So I'll just pick some sort of like a grayish bluish color to create the top part. Okay, something like this I think gonna work, but we can change colors later. And let's start drawing something in this area, something like this. Same thing from the other side. Let's just fill it in. Okay, so for now I'll just be doing the base colors of it. Okay, now we need to choose something more like a brown to make a handle, something like this, and let's start drawing this part. Alright, so now we can start to add some shading, some details, some shadows, some highlights, all that kind of nice stuff. So I'm gonna press Alt and just pick this color, so, and go a little bit darker and maybe change the hue a little bit. Okay, it's always very good to have very big contrasts while you're doing pixel art. You know, when you start to do gradients, it usually doesn't work for small assets. So we need to make sure to have big contrasts of colors if you want to make a shadow, highlight, and so on. And in that way we can actually use less colors as well. So we choose this one, and I can start drawing some of the shadows here. something like this. We can choose, actually, we can make it even darker because we use a few colors here. So maybe something like this. Now I'll choose a brighter color. Again, I can change the hue here. So do something like that to make some volume here. Okay. Yeah, let's see. So for example, here I don't see much contrast. So I'll just go here. Oops, that's too much. Maybe like this. And leave this a little bit empty here, so we create some volume here. And just continue on this side. I can probably make this less saturated. Okay. Let's see in the preview window. We can start seeing like how this is coming along together. I feel like we need some highlights, and I'm gonna choose more of on a green, a little bit saturated, something like that. That starts to look nice. Okay, maybe like this on this side. Okay, it's starting to take some volume, some shape there. I think we can continue with this part. Now, let me see. We can start to put some shadows here as well. I'll just go on something like this. Okay, I will start to add some shadows here on this side, and then some highlight on this side. But I think this is all too much contrasted and too saturated. So maybe I need to reduce that a little bit. I can use, by the way, this tool just to color all the similar colors. Will be colored by another color. Now maybe this should be a little bit less bright, so I can make a nice contrast. And I choose something on the yellowish color and just do that. That's too much. Let's reduce. Something like that, so we have a nice handle there. Let's do something here maybe. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's okay. A few adjustments here and there. Maybe I should do like a rope here, so it's kind of tight together. I don't know. Let's try. I'll pick a color like this and start doing that, like a cross or something. Okay. Now, yeah, I kind of need to work with colors here. So this is gonna be under and this is gonna be on top. Then we need to start putting some shadows there. Maybe do something like this. I feel this is too bright. Maybe I should use this color instead. Yeah, that's okay. Maybe we should go like this. And something like that. I think it looks quite nice. And you know, as a last thing, I'll probably add some outline here, because this is so it doesn't get lost with the background, because this is the tool you're using. This will be your mouse pointer basically. So I consider this kind of part of the UI basically. So I'll just draw a nice outline here to also add this a little bit cartoony effect to it. Just like that. Okay, so one thing I don't like here is there is not much contrast inside. We have like a really like dark outline, but now I need to work a little bit with colors. I'm gonna be using this tool, so I make sure if I change this color, it will change everywhere, right? So I feel like I need to add some more contrast here, maybe even a little bit different hue. Okay, maybe a bit more. Okay, that's nice. I feel this is not quite right. Okay, and this color is definitely too bright. It almost feels like it's made of plastic or something, so we wanted to make it look like something heavy. Oops, maybe like this. Okay, starts to look better. Okay, That's alright. Maybe I should remove this completely. Okay, maybe I can do something with this color as well. A bit more bright. Okay, cool. So I'm quite happy with this. I think we can go on. I think I need to position it somewhere here so I can have all the space to move, to animate this part. So I'll just say for now, I also edit points. I want to make sure that we create a point from where we will create our blocks. So it should be somewhere here. Okay, I'll just leave it here for now. Close, apply, and here you go. We have our first asset in the game. So let me just hit play. Obviously nothing happens. Let's try to go to full screen, and we have full screen resolution. I think this is a good size for the asset, so I'm quite happy with that. And I think we should continue with, first we'll create all the assets, and then we will animate them, and then we will make everything move. So let's go to the next one. So next thing I'm going to create is a block. Okay, so sprite, block, use capital B. As always, add animation, edit with Piscal. So these blocks I'm going to create 12 by 12 pixels, resize. Okay, that's gonna be good. I'll choose kind of brownish color as well, a little bit on the red side. Somewhere here, I think gonna work. And I create this cube, rounded edged cube, just like that. For now it's a square, but we'll make it look like a cube. Now I'll create inside, in the center, a smaller square, so we can start to create some volume there. Something like that. Okay. That's alright. Now we can play with the highlights, with the shadows. I'll need to choose even darker color than this. And start doing something like that. So we have the light coming from the left top side, so I'm just creating these shadows here. Okay, I think that starts to look interesting. And obviously I want to make some highlights as well. So maybe something like that. Yep, I think that works. And just add some little details here and there. Okay, I think that looks okay. So yes, that's good. I think next step is just to position the origin point to the middle. So if our sprite is 12 by 12, the divided by 2 is 6 by 6. So that's where it goes, right in the middle. So close, apply, and we have our block as well. Alright, so next thing I want to create is the stars that we need to collect. So I add another object, sprite, star, add animation, and edit with Piscal. So this one I will make something like 13 by 13. Okay, and now I'll start to draw my star. I'll pick like a yellow color. We'll start to draw, it's somewhere here in the middle. Okay, right now it doesn't look very nice, but believe me, when we add some details, it's gonna be better. Now I'll start to add some shadows here. Okay, again to give some volume to this sprite. So let's just go here. that. I can actually add again my outline. By the way, I don't remember the color, so I'll save it for now here, and I just want to pick this color. I don't remember where it was. I can just copy this code here, cancel, and go back to my star and actually put it here. So that was the color. Oops, what's going on? Okay, and I can start to create this nice outline here. I'm making the sharp edges here because it's a star after all. Okay, I think that looks okay. What do you think, guys? I think that looks alright. Maybe I should make this part darker so it feels a little bit more sharp in that area. Just like that. Yeah, that's better. Okay, that's good. Good. I like it. Now save and edit points. I want to bring this into the middle, so something like this. Close, apply, and we have our star as well. Good. We're almost there. We just need to create the ball. So again, sprite, ball, add animation, and edit with Piscal. I'll make the ball 12 by 12, resize, and I'll just use the circle tool, make it some with this color, something like this. Okay, and I'll just draw a circle. Now I can color it, and we don't need to do anything else with this sprite because the nice effect that we see in the demo game is going to be created with dynamic lights and particles. So let's just center this point, close, apply. Cool, we have our ball as well. So we basically have everything we need to start making this game work, and the next step is going to be to make part of this game work right now, so we can actually create blocks. The ball can actually interact with the blocks and things like that, and then we can start to animate, so we can see things coming together step by step. But before that, I'd like you to do something.
Subscribe now.
Do I have to?
Subscribe now.
How do you like my dance skills? Awesome, right? Okay, so as I said, we need to start to add some events, actions, and behaviors, so we can actually start to see these things coming together. So the first thing I'm gonna do is actually I will remove this block because we'll create it when we actually click with the hammer. So, and I'll just start to position objects where they should be. So I'll put one star here, I'll put another one here, and another one here. Okay, so we'll need to collect them all in order to pass the level. So let's go to our events where it's now totally empty, and we'll start to add some events here. Okay, so we need to make sure some things happen at the beginning of the scene. So at the beginning of the scene, okay, first of all, let's set the game to full screen. Full screen, yes. Okay, so now when we hit play, our game is in full screen. Right, so let's exit. Okay, another thing we need to do is to make sure that we always, so this hammer always is in position of our mouse. So I don't put any condition here, so that means this will happen always. Add an action and search for hide and hide the cursor. Okay, and another thing we need to do is that the hammer position, it's always set to our mouse position, so equals to mouse X. Okay, copy equals to mouse Y. Okay, play. Okay, now we are controlling this hammer with our mouse. Cool. Okay, so next thing, we just add another condition. Condition is mouse pressed, left button. So this is to create the blocks with the hammer. An action is going to be block, create, and the position is hammer X position, and Y it's hammer Y position. Okay, and press OK. So what's gonna happen now? We start to create these blocks, just like that. It's like drawing with paint or something, right? So next thing I want to do is actually to control the frequency of the creation of these blocks, because you know we are creating like very like tons of them like each time. I want to add an option so we can create a frequency. So how many blocks every how many seconds are created here. Okay. In order to do that, I'm gonna use timers. So I need to add another condition here. Timer. Value of a scene timer. We can name this so in seconds. Okay, let's put 0.02. That's gonna be very, very fast, but then I'll show you how we can what changes when you change this value. And the name of the timer, we can say create block, something like that. Okay, and then we need to add another condition. So we make sure that once the timer has reached this value, it's gonna go to 0 again. So type timer again here. Value of a scene timer in seconds 0.02. Timer name again, create block. Press OK. Then we reset the timer. So timer start or reset a scene timer, and again we need to input the name, create block. Okay, so if we run this now, you will not see much difference. I mean, but believe me, there are less blocks created at the moment. But for you to see it even better, I will just need to change these two values. So let's put like 1 second, right? Just to show you the difference. Okay, so play. Now it creates a block every 1 second, and I'm actually holding the left mouse key. Okay, so you get the idea how to control this. It depends like what we want to do with this later. But I'll go back to my original values. I find them to be perfect for me. But as you see in the example, like after a certain time, my blocks fall, right? So how do we do that? So in order to make the things to fall and all that kind of stuff, we need to start to add some physics in there. So I'm gonna go to my block, behaviors, and I will add physics engine 2.0. You can actually see two of my other tutorials here if you want to learn a bit more about physics, but let's jump straight into this. So you can choose different shapes for your physics, right? So this is for your hitbox, basically. I know it's a square, but in this case, I'm gonna go with a circle anyway. This is the reason behind this is because like when the ball will be falling on these squares, I don't want the ball to like bounce against the hard edges. I want it to like flow freely through these blocks. So I choose circle, so it's like circle moving on a circle. So it's going to be way smoother and easier to move through the blocks. Now the radius is the radius of the basically of the hitbox. And in my case, I'm gonna choose radius 5. Right, you can play around with this. It depends on the size of your asset. And I just change the gravity scale so it doesn't fall too quickly. 0.5, something like this. And also I set this to static. So dynamic, it will just fall immediately, but static, it's gonna stay in its place. We're gonna change this property in the events system. Okay, so I think this is okay. I'll just show you what happens, and what happens exactly. Nothing happens. Yes, because we need to do some things before that. Okay, so now we need to go to the animation. So this is one way to do this, but I want to set this block to play animation for 2 seconds. So this will actually dictate how long the block will stay there. So to do that, I just duplicate this frame and I put 2 seconds here and hit apply. Okay, so this animation will play for only 2 seconds, and after that we will make our block to fall. Now in order to do that, I'll just add another event and say block animation has finished. We choose again block and we set it to dynamic in properties of physics engine. Set as dynamic. So now you'll see that after 2 seconds the blocks will fall. So just like that. It's very satisfying animation, I would say. When I first created this, I was literally playing around with this for half an hour. I just drawing random stuff. Yeah, just like that. So that's a good start. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so there is another small detail I want to add here. It would be good for performance, because if you create like tons of these objects and they fall out of the screen, and you know they're still there basically, right? So for the performance of the game, it's not the best thing. So we can add something like this. So this is another behavior: destroy when outside of the screen. Okay, and here it is. And we can set this margin before deleting the object in pixels, so it will wait a little bit before it's destroying it. So I'll just add 100 pixels. So whenever one of these blocks will go out of the screen and its distance from the playable area, it's going to be more than 100 pixels, this object will be destroyed and then free some memory for us. Okay, so let's do that. And the next thing I'm going to do is actually add physics behavior to this ball as well, so we can see how it will start to interact with our blocks. So as you can imagine, I'll just go here and add physics engine. And also this object I'm gonna set to static at the beginning, because it will start to move or fall only when we for the first time create a block. So I'll set it to circle as well. Obviously it's a ball, so nothing crazy here. I put the radius to 4. This is again based on the sprite size of that I have, but you know you should play around, right, with this. It depends how big your sprite is. I will change some values here because I want to have my ball a little bit more slippery and a little bit more bouncy and things like that. So first of all, I'll change the density to 5. This will make the ball a little bit heavier than it is dictated by the radius of the hitbox. So basically, the bigger the object is, obviously it's gonna be heavier. But if the object is small but you want still to make it heavy, you can use the density property. Now another thing I want to do is to remove a little bit of gravity. I mean, it's heavy, so it will fall very fast, but I want to make it fall a little bit slower. So I'll just change the gravity scale to 0.3. And restitution is our bounciness. So if I put this to 0.6, which is bigger than 0.1, our object is going to bounce a little bit more. This two I'll just put to 0 at the moment, and that's okay. Alright, so that's it. Okay, now we can start. I'll just place them a little bit in a better positions, so this level is not impossible to achieve. Okay, Obviously now if I hit play, I can kind of do that, but you know, the ball, it doesn't start to move, because I need to tell that when we start to create blocks, the ball needs to fall. So, and this thing we're gonna add here, right? So once we create a block, we actually pick the ball and make it dynamic as well. Set as dynamic. Okay. So let's see what's gonna happen now. So if I create something here, you see the ball starts to interact with our blocks, and that's great. Now I want to add one little thing that will help us to test the level. I just want to add when you press escape button, we will just restart the level. So key pressed, escape, trigger once. It's always a good thing to add if you want to trigger this thing once at a time. So we pause and start new scene, which is the game. Okay, so now we can test it as many times as we want, right? So we can do that and see how things are moving. Escape, we can try again. Okay, cool. So this is now ready to test. Don't forget to save your project, it's always a good idea. So now the next thing I want to do is actually make us collect our stars and actually count how many stars we have collected overall. And in order to do that, we'll just need to create a scene variable. So scene properties, edit scene variable, and I add variable stars. And at the beginning, obviously, it's gonna, by default, it's going to be 0, okay, because we never collected any star at the beginning. Apply, and we have this variable. So this will take care of our stars. Another thing I want to add is actually to be able to see that. So we make sure that we know how many stars we collected, or we can actually capture some bugs connected to that. So I'll just add text. And well, it doesn't matter what's written there, but I will just stars collected. Okay, we have this text. I'll just put it somewhere here. It's a little bit big. Let's make it like 8 or something. Okay, it's blurred here because there's an issue with the text. It doesn't become like pixel rendered in GDevelop yet. I know there are some solutions going around with this, but you know, I don't really care in this example about this. It's just for us to see how many stars you collected. Now, how do we show this, right? So first thing we need to do is go to this always condition. So we make sure that always this text shows our variable. So modify text, it's always equals to variable or a string of a scene variable, and the scene variable is stars. So this text will always show how many stars we have collected. So if I hit play, this should now go to 0. So you see, it's 0. Cool. I will also create just a separate layer for this text, right? So this is UI. So why not create another layer, which is called UI? And I send this text there. Right. Cool. So now we will start to collect stars, right? So we'll need another condition for that, and simply, you know, when the ball collision, this collision here, not the physics collision, with a star, then we delete the star. So choose star delete. And we add 1 to our variable. So variable value of scene variable, this one, stars, yes, add 1. So we basically add 1 star to that value. Now as we are showing always this, you know, what is the variable in a text form here, right? That means now this should work already. So every time we touch a star, one number will be added there, and the star will be deleted. So that's cool. So this is now works. Okay, now we need to finish the logic, right? So we need to have a win or lose situation. Otherwise, this level is going to be extremely annoying if nothing happens. So I'll add another object here, and it's going to be sprite, and out of screen, and edit with Pisco, and we don't really care what we do here. I just make a big red block, and this object will allow us to actually end the level once the ball falls out of the screen, and see how many stars we collected before that, right? So if you collected 2 stars and we didn't collect the last one, and we fall and touch this object, well, then you lose. If you manage to collect all 3 of them, then you win. So I placed it here, so I think our ball will not be able to go out of these boundaries. So just make sure to make it super big. Okay, and now let's do this. So if ball collision, again this collision with out of screen, okay, and the value is the variable value of a scene variable stars is less than 3. So if we didn't collect 3 stars, right, and let's make sure 3 once true, then we lose, right? But we don't have any like messaging or anything to say that you lose, so I'll just create new levels. So I'll create 2 more levels, and one is gonna be game over. Oops, okay, and rename this one, and this is gonna be win. Okay, so I'll make sure that we can actually visually see scene properties. Let's say that when it's game over, we just put something red here. Okay, red background. Oh wow, this is terrible. Let's just make it black. Okay, and add some text and say game over. We can make this one red, I guess. Okay, game over. Let's give it a title as well. It's always a good practice. Game over. And let's just put it here. I am making this very quick and dirty, so you know, you can then do whatever you want here. Let me add like some more text here. So add more text. I'll call it like body, whatever. Make it white and do something like 8 here. Press ask to restart. Something like that, okay? And I hit apply here. And I put it here, okay? So we know what we need to do. And obviously in the events, we need to add another event, condition, no, key pressed, ask, okay, and then close and start a new scene, game, right? Cool. And then we have to do same thing for the other level, which is the win. And we can actually do one thing, which is very clever here in GDevelop. So we don't create this text again, we just set it as a global object. And you'll see that you will find it here as well now, okay? So scene properties, black. Okay, I'll put this one here and add win text. I put it to green or something. Win. And I call it, well, I'll just say win. Something like that. Okay. Again, I don't really care how the screens look. This is just to show you that things are working. Okay. And we do the same thing here. Win events. And then one event. Key pressed. Escape. Balance start new scene. Game. Cool. So we have the win and game over screens. So now we can go back to our game events and say, like, if this is happening, right? So if we didn't collect all the stars and we fall out of the screen, then pause and start new scene. Game over. Okay. But what happens if all the stars are collected? Obviously we'll go to the other scene, so we need to create another condition here and say variable value of a scene variable stars equals to 3, so when we actually collected all the stars, and add trigger ones here as well. Okay, then we pause and start new scene, win. Okay, so now let's try to test this thing. Okay, let's hit play. Now, okay, game over. Yeah, it looks horrible, I know, but yeah, at least it works. Now let's see if we actually manage to collect all the stars. I'm actually showing you how to pass this level, if I can. Oh no, it's too difficult. Okay, at least it works. So let me just reposition the stars a little bit so it's easier to achieve, something like that. Okay, let's see now. All right, now it should be easier. Okay, win. Cool, this is all working. Now we see there's some issues with like ordering, layer ordering of different objects. So we cover the ball with the blocks, the stars are not visible and things like that. We'll address that a little bit later. But for now, I want to start to actually add some juiciness in this all. So first of all, let's create animation for our hammer, right? So we have the animation for when it's kind of static. So we add another animation, and basically I'll just need to copy and paste this one, right? So just select this whole thing, save, edit with Piscal. Now I don't remember how big was this one. 24. Okay. So edit with Piscal, 24 by 24, resize, paste here. Okay, save. Now let's create this animation, right? So first thing we're gonna do is to duplicate this one and keep this frame just for reference, and we will actually need to use it at some point. But the first frame is gonna be hammered down, right? So now it's tilted like I think 45 degrees, but now we need to put it like on 90 degrees. So what I'm gonna do, like there is no many options. You literally need to redraw this thing in that position. So I'll just add another layer here so we can see what's going on behind, and we actually keep the colors and we can try to match you know, the image somehow. So I'll just start to create the straight image here. Okay, so let's choose this color, something like that. We start to create the base color here as well. So I'll just yeah, let me do that. Okay, so yeah, like that. I'll just start creating this hammer here this way. Yeah, I can move it a little bit further, maybe like that. I don't know, we will see later. We will see later what's going on. Okay, so let me remove some of this. Now, you know, same thing, we start to create some volume there, here and there. something here, something like that. Let's see if that makes sense. Now I can add something here. Okay, just drawing on top of everything. Okay, I think that starts to look interesting. Now let me think. So let me just remove this in this frame and just combine them together now. Okay, so okay, now we have this too, right? So we can start to see this animating kind of. Okay, so in this frame I'll just need to add the rest, right? So we have this strings here kind of that ties everything together, just like that. We'll need to put some shadows here and there, obviously, as we had in the other one. Okay. Probably we can do this. Yeah, it doesn't really matter now because, you know, we will not see this frame for a long period of time. It's just to make sure it all looks kind of alright, you know. That's okay. And I'll just add this outline. Okay. Cool. Now, obviously, this doesn't look great because it's just 2 frames. So, but this is enough for us to actually get something cooler out of this. So first thing I'm gonna do, like when we smash down, I will actually shake the hammer a little bit, so there is a little bit of bounciness there. So I'll just copy this frame a couple of times. So this is gonna be here, this is gonna be here, and this is gonna be there. So we have the bounciness. So you see, it's already there. Okay, cool. Also, we need to make sure this is not too static, right? So I'll just create a couple more frames, and I copied this one once again to put it at the end. So we need to make sure that this moves as well a little bit. So we can do that. Just move frame by frame. So let me see how that's looking. And we can pick this one and actually rotate it like this. Sorry. Just here. And now it starts to create a nice effect. So I think it's a little bit too long, so we can do we can remove one. And maybe the bounce is too much, so we can remove one here as well. And that's kind of alright, I think. It's not the best animation ever, but it will do its job. Okay, so save. And we'll put this one in a loop, so it doesn't stop at the last frame. And I probably do it like 0.02, so it's very fast. Maybe too fast, maybe try this, 0.04. But we'll create lots of blocks, so maybe 0.03. Okay, that's fine. So we have this animation already, so let's hit apply and see how we can add this animation to the code. So when we have here mouse button is down, we can actually change animation of the hammer as well. So hammer, animation, change the animation equals to 1. So that's the animation of hammering. Now, how do we stop this? Obviously, when the key of the mouse, left key of the mouse is released, then we need to stop the animation. So mouse button released, left primary. Okay, then we just copy and paste this one here and go back to the animation number 0. Okay, so let me see how that looks. Okay, it's not aligned, but I will tell you why. This always happens because if we see here edit points, we didn't share the same point within the both animations, so we just need to activate this, say OK. So now the same points will be shared together. Now if you press, now it's good. Cool. So we have the animation of hammering and game over, obviously. All right, so okay, that's one. Now another thing we need to do is maybe to make these stars moving, right? So we want them to rotate around like 360. So edit with Pisco, and same thing, you know, we just keep this for reference and we'll make it kind of move. So I will simply just move this here, like inside. Okay, something like that, but I want to keep the volume of it. Okay, that's okay. It looks like it's turning, but obviously, so we'll start to do it that's in such a way that this is the side which will be in front of the camera, this one will be behind, so we can actually shadow this one a little bit, right? Something like that, because it goes behind. Now let's do another one. So actually, let's swap places, and this is gonna be the full side of it, basically, so we can see the leg and everything here. So basically just need to create like a, you know, like a square, basically, something like that. Now we can maybe add another frame so it's smoother, so we can make animation a little bit smoother. I don't know, let's cut this stuff, maybe something like this, and we can make half of it actually dark. Maybe this a little bit like this. Now, you know, as long as it looks well in the preview. There's something wrong on the upper part, so maybe we can actually bring this one in. Okay, and probably I need to move something here as well because it doesn't look great. Okay. Nope. You know, something like that will work, I guess. Okay, so save, we put it in a loop. Let's see if that's a good speed for it. Not really, no, sorry, 0.1. Okay, so another thing, maybe we should duplicate some of the frames. So we just duplicate this one. So maybe it's gonna be smoother, and I just flip it. Duplicate and here and flip it. So apply and see how that looks. So, you know, we have our stars kind of rotating. Again, it's not the best animation, but yeah, you get the idea. Cool. Now, a few more things I want to make here to make this game a little bit juicier. So let me add actually a particle effect here. So let's add particles. I have a tutorial and the library, free library of particles here if you want to take a look. I think it's going to be interesting for you to learn a little bit more about particles, but let's do something very simple here. So our ball is kind of blue, green, whatever. So I wanna choose some of the similar colors here as well. So I'll start with something like this maybe, and with end up in like dark purple or things like that. Okay. So this is gonna be the particle. I activate additive rendering, so this will create like a better blend mode on the object. So particles in the tank, flow the particles. I want it to be very small, one maybe. Maybe let's say 3, but and we go to the size as well. So at the end, at the beginning, it's going to be 100% in size, and at the end, it's going to be 0, right? And start opacity is okay, and end opacity is 0. You know, there's only one way to know if it works or not. Let's just hit apply. Oh, I forgot to name it. Trail or something. Okay, and I'll just put it here and see how that looks on the ball, basically. So let me see. Okay, I don't like how it looks, so we need to make a few tweaks here. I want to make it look more like a fire or something. Okay, so we'll go here, and obviously the spray cone angle, I want to do it for 1, so it just go in one direction. It doesn't spread too much around, and that should actually help. And also the force, I think we need to reduce it. So the minimum force, I would say it's 12, and the maximum is like, I don't know, 35, so it doesn't go too far away. And let's see how that looks. Yeah, it kind of looks like fire. Okay. But obviously it's not attached to our ball or anything. So yeah, let me change that. Right, so at the beginning of the scene, we actually want to rotate our particle to go up. So I'll just, at the beginning of the scene, trail, angle, and we just choose emission angle equals 2 minus 90. Okay, so in that way, we actually rotate our particle. Cool. Now, I think it should cover a little bit more the ball, just to make it look better. Let me see what I can do with that. I think it's gonna be enough actually to change the size to 6 or something, okay? So I'll just do that. I think it's a little bit too strong. Okay, let me try something like 4. I think it still shoots too strongly the particles, so maybe something like this will work better. Okay. I don't know. I think for now it works. You can play around with it on your own. So let me actually now make sure that the flame is always attached to our ball. So ball, trail, position, an object equals to ball x and equals to ball y. Cool. So now it's all should be attached together. Let me see. That's cool. We have the nice trail effect here. Cool. Now, last thing I want to add here is actually some dynamic light. So that's going to be fun in this case. So we just go here, add a new object, light, ball, light. I think 30 is going to be enough. I put some color to it maybe as well. Something like that. Okay, apply. And now I want this light to actually not using this lighting layer, because what happens now, everything is gonna become kind of darker. In this particular case, I want to avoid that. So then what I'm gonna do is to put in the level this object and send it to base layer basically. and I can now freely remove this one, remove objects. Okay, so now we still have the glow effect. It's somewhere there out of the screen, but we don't have this darkening happening anymore. Okay, so if we actually put it here, we can actually preview how this whole thing will look. Something like that. I think it's alright. You get the idea what I'm trying to achieve. I just can make it maybe smaller, maybe 20. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, something like that. Cool. And now, you know, same thing, right? So we need to attach this light to the ball. So always here. So we can actually copy this, copy and paste, and just replace trail with the ball light. Okay, and just do that. And now it's kind of follows everything. That's great. All right, cool. Now, you know, I just, for the sake of experiment, at the beginning of the scene, I just hide the ball, and maybe that will look even better. So hide. Let's see how that looks. So we will just see the light and the particle effect. Yeah, that's alright as well. You know, that's okay. There's this thing happening in the beginning just because probably because we have it here. So let's just remove these things out of the screen so they will just appear directly on our object. So let's hit play. Okay, that's cool. I think this looks actually better. If we do the background a little bit darker, this is gonna look even better. So let me just go to the scene properties and make it darker. Maybe I'll choose some color as well. I don't know, something like that. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that looks okay. Cool. And the last thing we need to sort is the Z order. So this is the layers on which we have our objects. So I want to make sure that stars are always visible, that we don't cover them with the blocks and things like that, and so on, so on, so on. Right, so what I want to do is to set it here because it's just easier. So blocks, the order, it's always equals to, let's say, it's gonna be the lowest thing, maybe. So let's just choose 10, something like that. Okay. Now we always want the stars to be on top of it, on top of the blocks. So the stars, the order equals to, let's say now it's gonna be 15. So that's gonna be always on top. Now we also, I don't know how currently we have the ball there. Is it always on top of the blocks or under? Okay, I don't really care. So let's just say that the ball is always on top, right? So then it's gonna be on top of the block but under the star. So we should choose a value between, like, I don't know, 10 and 15. So I'll just do that, copy and paste, and say ball. It's gonna be I don't know, 11, right? But we want to have the trail effect on top of the ball, right? So trail is gonna be 12 now. Okay. And now we want to have the light on top of it. So ball light, the order equals to 13. Okay. And on top of everything, we're gonna have our hammer. So hammer, the order, I'll just put it to 20. Okay, so now we sorted our order of our objects. It doesn't matter when and how they created. This is going to be the order, right? Okay, so let's see if everything is working. Okay, it feels nice. Let me pass this level. Let's see if I can do it. Cool, and down. Yay. Cool, that works. So I hope you like this video. Like, feel free to download this project. It's on my itch.io page. The link is in the description below. Feel free to experiment with this, to create your own game out of it. There's many things you can actually do with this. You know, you can create different obstacles. You can you know, create different types of balls or kind of blocks or hammers that do different things. You can really create a very interesting game out of this. So feel free to use it, let me know how that goes. And if you liked this video and this tutorial, please subscribe, join my Discord server, follow me on Twitter, and see you next time.